I used to run myself into the ground trying to get everything done. And by evening, I was exhausted, irritated with my children, and I felt like I was missing the very life that I was trying so hard to manage. But here's what I've discovered. Sometimes the most productive thing that you can do is absolutely nothing. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why doing nothing can save your home and how to experience that kind of rest the way that God actually intended. I think many of us fall into what I'd call the task trap. We expect way too much of ourselves. Maybe you're managing toddlers all day, or homeschooling multiple children, or in a really demanding season of life. But somehow we believe that we should be able to do just as much as someone with a much less demanding life, and that is just not realistic. I want to paint a picture of what frantic can look like in our homes because I think we've all been there. It's when we find ourselves irritated with our children because they're interrupting what we're trying to accomplish, or when we're moving from task to task without any real connection with the people who are around us. We are physically there, but mentally we're already 3 steps ahead thinking about the next thing that we need to do on our list. Our kids are trying to tell us something and we realize that we're only half listening because we're focused on getting the dishes done or the laundry folded or whatever it is. When we give into this frantic mindset, our relationships suffer and we can't get that time back. We miss the moments that matter the most, like when you see your child first thing in the morning, or when they're telling you something that's important to them and you're actually listening, or those random conversations that happen when you're not rushing. Those moments are very precious and they shape our children's hearts. They tie heartstrings that really are important for your relationship. They create the loving home that you actually want. So here's what I find so puzzling. We all want these connected moments with our families. We know that they matter, and yet somehow we keep choosing task over people. We rush past the very thing that we are working so hard to create. So why do we do this? What's driving us to sacrifice connection like this for productivity that actually leaves us empty? A lot of times I think it's fear. It's fear that we're going to fall behind. It's fear that other moms are doing it better, maybe, or fear deep down that our value depends on how much we can get done. So we start thinking, if I'm busy or if I'm doing more, I'm a better steward. But here's what I've learned. When I feel frantic, when I stop and pray, it is good for my soul. I don't always do it because I'm frantic in that moment. When I stop and pray, it is a good thing for the soul and it is a good thing for the home. At many times, what's causing the stress is that, for me, is that my priorities are out of order. And there is a very solid biblical framework that shows us what should come first. So when I align my life with that framework, everything changes. And I'm going to walk you through that in just a moment. But first, I wonder if you're like me and sometimes put task above relationships. We all need to recalibrate from time to time. Jesus himself said, "Come to me, all you who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Notice something important here. He doesn't say, "Come to me once you've finished everything on your list." He invites us to come as we are in the middle of the labor, in the middle of feeling worn down. And this completely shifts how we can think about rest. Somehow we've convinced ourselves that rest is earned, but God shows us that rest is received. God designed us with limits, and those limits aren't a flaw in the system. They are a part of his good design. So there is a completely different way to live, and God gave us a blueprint for it. And it starts with something that he modeled himself, a day of complete rest. That is the gift of Sabbath. And here is what surprised me. When I finally started protecting one day a week for complete rest, everything else in the week became easier, but not in the way I expected. Let me show you how. By the way, if we haven't met yet, my name is Lauren. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5, and here on this channel, I help homemakers very practically bring rhythm and rest into the heart of their home. If that sounds like something you need, be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss my weekly videos. The first way to embrace biblical stillness is through the gift of weekly Sabbath. God rested on the 7th day, not because he was tired, but because he wanted to establish a pattern for us to model after. He knows exactly what we need as creatures, and so he gave us a day set apart for rest. I know what some of you might be thinking. Lauren, I can barely keep up with everything with 6 days. How am I supposed to take a whole day off? But here's what I've discovered. Sabbath is not about adding one more thing to your plate. It is a gift that God wants to give you to be gracious to you. And the way that you set up for it does matter, because if you don't prepare, it's hard to rest, especially for moms. But I also found that many moms struggle with Sabbath because they try to make it fancy. They think it has to look impressive, but that is the opposite of what Sabbath needs and what the purpose is. For this week, if you want to try it out, start with the most practical, easy preparation possible. If you want to, use paper plates. That's what we like to do sometimes. Plan the simplest meals that you can imagine. Very easy meals like bagels and fruit and whole milk for breakfast, sandwiches, pizza, I don't know, just something really simple. If you want to cook, make it something that requires almost no effort, or you could even prep a couple ingredients ahead of time. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to make room for mom also to be able to rest. Once you experience the gift of Sabbath, you are naturally going to want to create some weekly prep rhythms so that it becomes easier each time. So what does Sabbath actually look like in our home? For us in the Mefford home, for now in the season while we have littles, it starts on Friday evening and it lasts all the way through till Saturday evening. We do it on Saturdays, again, because we have littles. But we begin with a Sabbath dinner. Sometimes I cook something special and light candles. In really intense seasons, I keep it really simple. We'll just light candles and share a small treat afterwards. The key is marking the beginning of this set apart time. Saturday is relaxed family time with no agenda. There's no rushing around, no pressure to finish any work. We might play a game, read quietly, take a walk, sit and talk. If it feels refreshing and enjoyable to tackle a project together, we'll do that. But there's not really a schedule to keep and nothing to accomplish. We are just being together. Here's the mindset shift that changed everything for me. This is not unproductive. This is the most productive thing that you can do for your family's souls. If the Lord created us, He knows exactly how we function best, and Sabbath is a great gift to us because we need it. You might feel guilty at first. You might think about laundry or Monday morning, and that is totally normal, but it's not true. So just remember, rest is not a waste. It's really obedience to God, and it is a blessing. If this idea of a Sabbath sounds good, but it also feels hard to make rhythms like that work in real life, that's exactly why I created my free masterclass. In it, I'll walk you through how to build simple rhythms and prep systems so that rest doesn't feel chaotic or stressful. You can grab that down below. It's completely free. So Sabbath is one day set apart for rest, but what about the other 6 days? Well, those are for diligent work, and work itself is good, but even diligent work needs wisdom. And when we rush from task to task without having margin, we burn ourselves out. The goal here isn't to work less, it's to work wisely. So how do you build daily routines with margin? What changed everything for me was not having a new routine. It was a single question. When I feel that familiar frantic feeling that bubbles up sometimes, I'll stop and ask, what does my family need from me right now? Sometimes it means putting down the dish towel to read with my kiddos. Sometimes it means sitting on the floor with my toddler instead of cleaning. Sometimes it might mean listening to my husband and slowing down instead of pushing through dinner prep and trying to get dinner on the table. Even a few minutes of being present and slowing down to do that, especially when feeling a little extra frantic, choosing to slow down in those moments can change the tone of the whole day. So to make this possible, I like to try to structure our days with margin. I use simple time blocks instead of racing the clock. I consolidate errands into one day when possible. It does not always work out that way. And then we try really hard to protect a daily afternoon rest. And then we limit how many commitments that we take on. Margin often means saying no to good things so that you can say yes to what is best. But the most important part is stopping to pray when that frantic feeling starts. This is how biblical stillness transforms your home. Not through having perfect systems, but through choosing being present and slowing down and walking with the Lord instead of aiming for high output and just simply being as productive as you can. So if you've been feeling guilty for resting or wanting more margin, God already gave you that permission. It won't feel natural at first, especially for those of you who are like me and like to get as much done as you can naturally. If you have that bent, it won't feel natural at first. So that's why it's very important to be in prayer and to recalibrate whenever you see that your priorities are out of line. Remember that Israel took Sabbath in the middle of harvest season. So their livelihood was out in the field, ripe and ready to be picked, and they had to trust the Lord. So when everything feels urgent, like Israel, it's good to learn to trust the Lord with that. And that's really what this is about. This is how homes are actually saved, not by scrambling to do more, but by ordering our lives in a wise way, by aligning them with how God designed them, and by choosing being present with your family over pressure to get everything possible done under the sun. So this week, consider taking your Sabbath. Simple meals, no agenda, just be present and slow down. I would love to hear how it goes. Comment below and share your experience with me. And if you want help building rhythms that actually work for your home, again, check out that free masterclass where I walk you through that step by step. You can grab it down below. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'll see you in the next one.